This is Brandon.
Thank you.
Kelly,
Kelly, good.
I think we're missing Tim and Mike.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and proceed with the opening business. Are there any changes to the agenda as you know it, Larry?
No changes.
No changes to the agenda. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda for the June 11th, 2020 board meeting?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, guys. Call the question.
Aye.
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 So we have two board members, aye, board president, aye, and we're waiting on the other two. So it's 3-0. Do we have any public participation that we need to take care of before we adjourn to closed session? Can we unmute everyone? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session?
I'll move.
Kelly?
Sorry, so moved. I second.
All right, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Two board members, aye, board president, aye, two members waiting to join. 3-0. We'll adjourn to closed session at 6:37 p.m. Board members, please join us in closed session. Thank you.
The Acton Aguadosa Unified School District School Board meeting with the Board of Trustees for June 11th is now going into closed session. So we'll be back in an hour when the meeting starts for the general public.
p.m. Yolanda, could you lead us in the flag salute?
That's all. Hand on your heart.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Yolanda. We'll carry on. I will read the district civility statement. When conducting district business, we will communicate clearly and concisely with respect for the time of others, listen objectively, carefully considering the opinions of others, understand the counterproductive effects of disruptive, demeaning, and intimidating behaviors, understand and respect district policies and procedures, and maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and the efforts of others who have served in the past. That said, let's move on to tab 5, public comments, recognition, and reports. Do we have anyone that wishes to address the board on a non-agendized item? Unmute everyone, please.
Let's just install this timer. Install this new timer.
Okay, hearing nothing. That was interesting.
No, just give me the key.
Okay. So if everyone can hear, let's get ourselves in order at home. And in about 15 seconds, I'm going to ask that question again. We're going to unmute. If you wish to address the board on any non-agendized item, let us know now. So unmute again, please. Wow, wasn't that effective? Hearing nothing, let's move on. Let's go to correspondence, proposals, and reports. AATA representative? Let's just make a habit of unmuting quick. AATA representative? Hearing nothing. CSEA representative? Let's unmute in case there's somebody who wants to speak to us. Hearing nothing. Student representative to the board?
President Falsgraf, the student rep asked me if I could deliver her report after a long shutdown. Some minor things are opening and she's out there for the first time in a long time. So she asked if I could pass on this report. That's okay with you?
Please.
Okay. Carolyn and the students would like to thank PTSO for the keychains they provided. Also, the yearbooks. All the students believe they came out beautifully. I know that it's, she says it's a student-led activity, but notwithstanding that, they really turned out nicely and they're excited about them. Most importantly, she would like to express gratitude for the efforts of Mr. Brockway for Night of the Stars. And as a parent, actually, myself. And lastly, some questions out there about the senior packages. Many seniors did not complete paying them off. Other seniors did. And those seniors are not in a rush to get their money back. They just would wondering if they will get their money back if things like the prom cannot happen, although they're not asking the district and administration to run into decisions about the prom because they still think there's a window to have it. That's what she wanted me to express.
Thank you, Mike. If you can, please pass off. I was hoping at some point we would get an opportunity to address her. Carolyn, you've done a wonderful job, and I would like, if at all possible, if we can get her in here, whatever that means, at the last board meeting, at least to participate. I would really like to have the board members each go through and talk to her for a little bit, because she's done a wonderful job this year for us.
I will pass that on. It is her intent to be at the next board meeting, knowing that that's the last one.
Yeah, I think that she made an advancement in doing what a student rep does by having the other educational sites included in a way that was very meaningful. So I think that was her trademark, as long as I see that. Or in my words, I would really like to be able to tell her that in person. So thank you, Mike. Superintendent Gold Standard Report.
Okay, so I do have an update this evening on a few different things. First thing is, I'd like to talk about the parent survey that's out there. I do understand initially there was some confusion over the weekend about, I think I said in my message that it would be coming out shortly last Friday, and instead it was on the actual website. So I want to thank the principals for putting out a subsequent message at the beginning of this week where the link was actually attached, and then we extended the date through tomorrow. So if there's any parents listening and you'd like to fill out that survey, we'd love to have your thoughts on it. The other feedback I have received, that parents are very appreciative of the opportunity to provide their opinions and their preferences for the upcoming school year, but they've also shared that they'd like to have a narrative comment space. So if there's thoughts that you're not able to express in that survey, I know some of you have done that through an email, so please feel free to share your thoughts via email. We'll keep those on file as well and review those with staff. So thank you again, appreciate your thoughts. and you're taking the time to complete the survey. Again, just as a reminder, we're looking at 3 different models at this point, and you can consider them models or options depending on what kind of direction we get from the county, the Department of Public Health, as well as Los Angeles County Office of Education. We are going to be prepared to deliver a hybrid model, meaning part of the day would be live teaching in the classroom, physical. Part of your time would be at home. There would be an option for 100% distance learning, again, depending on what orders come down and what options are available. And then the third option would be if students were not allowed to return to school at all, because we don't know how things are going to change. If it's going to be another spike, or if we go back a phase as opposed to moving forward through the phases, then we would be prepared to do 100% distance learning. To prepare for any and all these models, we are going to be working vigorously over the next 2 weeks to bring forward to the board an instructional model that will be flexible. We're going to work closely with a facilitator we're bringing into the district named John Carippo. He's the Chief Learning Officer, formerly with Q Computer User Education, has an extensive background in technology and education, and we look forward to his assistance in facilitating this process, working very closely with our teachers who will be represented on this committee, along with our administrators and our Assistant Superintendent, Kim Shaw. So I appreciate ahead of time the efforts that they're going to be making over the course of the next couple of weeks. Next week, we will be sending out a survey to our teachers. We also want to hear from our teachers as far as what this experience has taught them in terms of their preference on how to return in the fall, what they're looking at in terms of their professional opinion about education and reform education. And for decades now, for the past 50 years, I was reading an article the other day, we've often heard the term educational reform, yet we still see oftentimes very similar classroom settings and learning obstacles to what we saw 100 years ago. And so this has really forced many of us to rethink education, reinvent education, and to revitalize education. So I think in some ways, it's provided us with the unique opportunity to do that. So I look forward to working with our teachers and our administrators to be actively engaged in the development of this plan. A couple of notes on budget that I'd like to share. For those who paid attention to the May revise, the governor's budget proposal included many reductions throughout the state, including in education. The legislative arm has proposed something very different. And so I'd like to share that with you this evening, some of those points. I'm in strong support in representing the district and working with our county to encourage the state to reject the 10% local control funding formula reduction from the May revise, to adopt an LCFF cost of living adjustment of 2.31%, defer $1.6 billion in Proposition 98 funding in the 1920 budget year to 2021 budget year, and defer an ongoing total of $3.412 billion in funding from the 2021 budget year to the 21-22 budget year. So the lack of federal funds trigger an additional $4.625 billion in 2021 deferrals, which would preserve schools' programmatic funding instead of making cuts. So we'll continue to work with the county and support them in this effort. And I'm sharing a document.
Oh, Scottsdale? Okay. This is cool.
sharing this topic. Sorry, I had to mute somebody, but I'm gonna share a document with the board president at this time that shows all 80 districts nearly supporting that effort to ensure stable funding for our districts. Today I was in a Zoom meeting with the LA County Department of Health, specifically Dr. Gilchick. He talked about the regulations coming out in the next week from the County Department of Health to help provide some clarity. Unfortunately, on some of these issues, not everything is cut and dry. So for example, should there be a case in a school district, you would need to receive direction, and they have a hotline basically that the district can call into to get advisal and direction on how to proceed depending on the specific case and district and number of people and so on. The last piece I have to share on is an update on Eagle Collegiate Academy. Just to remind the board that they petitioned to our school district a couple of months ago. The board agreed with staff's recommendation to deny the petition. They subsequently went 2 days ago to the county to appeal that decision. The county supported Adusd in the denial. And so the next step for Eagle Collegiate Academy would again be, I believe this is their second time going to the California Department of Education to appeal that decision. And as soon as we have a date, we will let the board know, and staff will be representing the Adusd Unified School District. That concludes my comments. I just want to thank everybody for a tremendous effort on getting through the end of the school year. I want to thank our staff, our administration, our teachers. I want to thank all of our classified employees, food service folks, custodial team, maintenance. Everybody's really done a terrific job. Our clerical staff, our office folks, just really appreciate the effort. I know I'm leaving out some people. Business is working here every day at the district office, our technology folks. Just, it's really been a team effort, and I appreciate everybody's time and effort to get through this period. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Are there any submissions this evening?
There are none.
Perfect, thank you. Let's move on to board member comments, tab 7, and let's start with immediate past president Mike Fox.
Good evening. I'll just echo Superintendent King's gracious message of gratitude towards employees and staff, families. You know, the next board meeting is the last one of the year, and I'll say more personal thank yous then. Other than that, things are changing quickly, and all we can be is patient and see how things develop, and wait it out, wait and see. I hope next school year is more in-person time, but we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Brandon.
Hi, everyone. So yeah, it's been an interesting school year. I can honestly say when I attended the drive-through graduation, I never thought I'd experience that, but I think it was a really, really interesting concept, and I think it went over really well for what we were able to do. It was great seeing a lot of the kids leaving with diplomas. It was great seeing that we could actually do something to celebrate, and I never thought I'd actually see a convoy of dirt bikes picking up diplomas. That actually made me really proud. Beyond that, I just want to say thank you to everyone for your time, patience, all the effort, to all the teachers. You guys did an amazing job onboarding the distance learning program. Superintendent King, all our classified staff, thank you guys for what you've done. Like, this was no small task, and it was definitely something no one expected, but looking at the end of the year, I think we got through it well, and I'm excited to hopefully see the restrictions get lifted, and we'll have more in classroom time with the upcoming school year, and I hope things get back on track.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Coach Jorgensen.
echo what Mike and Brandon have said about staff, certificated, classified, food services doing an exceptional job keeping our community fed and our kids taken care of. But I want to spend a few minutes recognizing, I want to send out a special, just a great shout out to all of our Night of the Stars recipients at each grade level with each content area. I know as a teacher, it was always a privilege to be able to recognize the outstanding student in my particular disciplines. So I know that the teachers spent their time picking the students that have done the hard work, particularly in this last quarter of this year, the last semester, when everything shifted to distance learning. Students had to buckle down and work with all kinds of challenges, and yet they still prevailed. I want to give a special shout out to our State Gold Scholarships recipients, Jolene Wessel, Arturo Castillo, Ben Lee, Carolyn Fox, and Casey Arguelles. Hard work first time around, and congratulations. Another challenging area that our athletes, our students and our student athletes really did well with is our male and female scholar athletes. They work hard off the field, during practice, during off school hours, and yet they keep their academics up. And our female scholar athlete, Carolyn Fox, along with her excellent board attendance, did an exceptional job. And the male scholar athlete, Jacob Orrell. It's no easy feat for students to participate in everything that they do and continue their academics, and we pride ourselves on that, providing that opportunity. So our female athlete of the year, Megan Ryan, and the male athlete of the year, Omari Mathis, have excelled and have demonstrated that. And our last three, the big shout outs to are our salutatorians, Jackson Kessler and Sean Ho Lee, otherwise known as Benny Hanna to me in my classroom. And an absolutely exceptional and well-worked and earned valedictorian. Shout out to Casey Arguelles. Congratulations to all the Night of the Stars. You've worked your way through a very challenging semester. It's going to be something that you'll be able to look back on with pride and dignity, that you continue to do the hard work and make your parents proud and make us proud. And along with your teacher, staff, and the board, I thank you. Stay well and be safe.
Thank you, Tim. Kelly.
Tim, thank you for those comments, and thanks, and a big shout out to our students this year for all their hard work and just still working really hard even through the whole COVID-19. I'd like to just wish everyone a great summer. I know everybody's just exhausted from everything that's been going on, and get some rest, because we still don't know what it's going to look like next year, and it can change. And also just reminding everyone, like Mr. King said, to please fill out the survey so that we really hear what people are wanting for next year, including our parents and our teachers. That's all I really have for tonight. Just rest up, everyone, and thanks for your hard work. And also to our child nutrition, I know that we're going to be continuing with some lunches and some meals, so I really appreciate that as well.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, board members. I'm blessed to work with you. Tim, I want to thank you for your comments, and thank you for your decades-long dedication to the students and the athletes of this district. And along those lines, towards the end of my comments here, I'm going to ask for your support in a more focused way going into the future. Caesar, thank you for being here to run all of this and make sure that this happens, and we can still make sure that the public can participate in these meetings. I very much appreciate your dedication of being here and the fine job you do to make sure that the agenda comes up and everything. But my comments tonight are going to focus on the survey. I'm going to kind of go through and say some things that only I would say that the district can't say, and I hope that sheds some light on some things, because I have had some comments and questions about this. Some of them, there's some misunderstandings, and some people just flat out don't like the way it's working. So I'm going to try to explain that, and then I'm going to suggest that a sports liaison be sent out from the board, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I think there's some Captain Obvious stuff going on here with this survey. I think everyone knows that the district is a seat-based program, and that people who are dropping their kids off every day are putting them on the bus. before this COVID thing, that was an indicator that that's what they wanted. So I don't think that's a surprise. I think if people wanted an online or distance learning, there were opportunities for that. So I think the groups have already been formed already before this COVID thing. But you know, it's pretty clear that when the COVID thing happened, the district, along with other districts, countywide, statewide, and nationally, were thrown into suddenly we have to do something different. But again, we operate in a very strict environment that's everything is law, everything is code, and you have county office of education. So I want to frame my discussion about this way. Public agencies give a high degree of attention and become most conservative when there's a risk of exposure, especially legal exposures that lead to fiscal penalties that stand to debilitate a budget that is meant to educate kids. So do you hear people talking about this much? No. So let me give you an example in my world. We have this thing called a ficus tree. It's a wonderful tree. It's very large, but when you put it in an area of sidewalks, they bust the sidewalks up. There's trip hazards. And then after a while, you have to fix the sidewalks, so you cut the roots off. So ultimately what happens is the trees, because they weren't planted in the right place, end up creating a hazard and a liability for the city. Now, the city does not run out and say, hey, anybody that wants to trip and fall, go over here on this street. On the same level, we have to prioritize things, and we have to balance the way people appreciate trees. And sometimes that is not good because emotions come to debate with common sense, and in the public sector, that's not usually a win-win for anybody. But I remind people that the civility statement suggests that if you're going to become active on an issue, that you kind of understand what the district's policies and procedures are and some of the constraints we have. So here's what the survey really tries to do. It provides a means to react to any mandate that is going to come the district's way in lieu of opening the door and going back to the way we normally did it, meaning I don't think that somebody's going to say tomorrow morning, oh, everything's open, go back to exactly what you were doing. And I think that's pretty much common sense. But working for a public agency myself, my mornings start with an hour-long meeting that updates what's happening, what the county health officer is saying, what the numbers look like, the fatalities, the new cases, and then what it means operationally to the city on a number of things, facilities. I work for a public works department, so there's a ton of things going on. And the information that's coming down from the oversight agencies, it's volatile, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but people are reacting to things, and sometimes they're not the most informed people. So you have a doctor looking at one way or another. So these consensus happen, and things happen every day, and it changes so much it becomes virtually impossible for someone like a school superintendent to inform the public in a predictable way that the public is going to say 3 days from now, oh, I understand what is happening here, and that's difficult. So when it comes to the survey, when I opened it up and went over it at home with everyone, it asked the first question, do you prefer seat-based? Do you prefer a blend between seat-based and distance learning, or distance learning? Now, it's asking for you to fill that information out about a student. Anyone that knows special education knows that plans are developed for students, or individual education plans. They're meant not to be constraining or anything like that. There are also mandates about what kids are taught by in what grade in the curriculum or whatever. But that said, the survey looks to take the individual student and consider what they might need. Now, in my home, I have one kid that would prefer probably to spend a couple hours in the classroom and the rest over here, while the other one would prefer maybe to be in the classroom the whole time. I don't want to group those together as a family and say, or one box checks all, but if they fit that criteria in your family, you'll notice that when you check the box that you prefer seat-based, the questions become very short and they end very quickly. Now, there's an algorithm going on in the background that based on your last choice, it's not meant to lead you, but it's certainly a data analysis where the district at the end of the survey can pull up what they call frequency distributions and says, okay, this number of people and this number of people. So to the flexibility Larry was speaking to. But let's say I fill out the survey and then something changes drastically in 2 days and my employers call me back to work or something changes. I go back in, I sign back in, and I make a different answer. The algorithm changes, so it leads you down a different path based on your answer. So the idea that if someone calls up and complains, the entire algorithm changes, no. But we certainly understand that it's not a one size fits all, and you may have things that work for a family, one kid in the family and something else. But if you go back in and update your answers, expect that the algorithm and the questions might change. No one is changing this. I'm very, in my world, I study things, and changing the data structure in the middle of something creates these false results. And when you're dealing with people that have different circumstances, that's a whole new game. So again, the algorithm is not going to change, but why would their numbers change? Well, something happens. I have people, if you work for a progressive agency, someone might say, look, you've been telecommuting from home, we're going to bring you back in, but the county is only going to let us operate at, say, 25%. You're seeing those numbers thrown around. So relating to our district, we have 1,000 kids. If they say 25% of historic, we've got 1,000 kids. That would mean only 250 of them could come on the site for X amount of time and all these social. I know what re-entry protocols look like. I mean, I have one here from the city. When you onboard a person that has been commuting and working from home, there's a myriad of things. I walk in every morning, there's a temperature gun put on my head, this, that. If I don't want to do those things, I can burn my time up. If I don't feel safe there, I've got sick leave and all that. But when the day comes when I'm out of that stuff, well, I've made some choices. But to participate, the agency I work for is focused on the protection of the public, and that starts with compliance with the people who work there. But anyway, groups are broken up, numbers are met, and after a while, maybe those will get relaxed and stuff. And I've also heard some noise that, well, the Office of Education, the county office, is giving you recommendations and not mandates. So let me make this really easy. Let's say we just fling the doors open and we go against what the Department of Education recommendation is, but the county mandate for protection of public facilities and re-entry. Let's just say we ignore that, we throw it in, and somebody gets sick, real or perceived. And then you're going to see this, I guarantee you'll see this. There'll be some late night commercials. Was your child become ill after re-entry to a COVID? Call this number, 1-800. I hope that's not us, but all I have to do, if I'm the attorney representing the person who is the plaintiff, I'm going to say, I'm going to subpoena the superintendent and say, did you follow the county recommendation? No, I didn't. Why? Oh, because there was political pressure from these people. Okay, so then no more questions. And I asked the county superintendent, I subpoena that person, put them up there and say, do you support the recommendation you gave? And they say, no, but it's just a recommendation. And you hear some mumbling about local control or something like that. But then the county superintendent rolls on you that you made a bad choice. And I'll tell you what happens right then. You have just put the district budget meant to educate children out there to be looted for whatever by anybody who's perceived that they were damaged, real again or not. And the precedence has been set, and I don't want that to happen here. So again, this survey allows people, whatever's going on at their home, maybe they're working 2 days a week from home, maybe they have to go in. There's some transition going on here, and it's not just all about education. So what the district is trying to do is take an unknown set of circumstances at a great deal of volatility and look at it and say, how do we best service our market and customers, which is our students? So please fill that form out. And remember, what what works for you, for work, and for the other aspects of your life, take that into consideration, as well as whether the solutions fit one child or all. And when I got a feeling that, I'm not psychic, but I think the majority of people are going to say that they wanted a seat-based. I don't think that's a surprise. And when that happens, that allows our superintendent and allowed board members to advocate and go to the county and say, hey, look, these things that you are putting on us go far and wide against what our customers expect. And we understand the health mandates and the like, but we really need you to understand that this means loss of ADA for us, and we're already precarious there. So it gives us the ability to focus on advocating for the things that are running our district. And I expect our superintendent to focus on the top end issues of this organization, and that's definitely one of them. So I want to thank you for your patience, and I want to thank you for your response to the survey. If you filled it out already, you get to thinking maybe I triggered something here, or something happens at work tomorrow, let's get back on there and fill it out, and just give us what you think is going to work for you. So thank you for bearing with me on that long comment, but I have one more. It relates to district sports and the sports program. This is not an action item. We have different people doing different things that represent people like the AV School Boards Association and some things like that. I'm sure there are other examples. But I'm asking for the support of my fellow board members in the assignment of Coach Jorgensen to act in the capacity of a board liaison to participate in monthly meetings with the director of athletics and the superintendent to focus on continuity and the maintenance of the district sports fields, the scheduling of the district sports events, the budgetary needs and priorities of the sports program district-wide, the staffing and support of events, the support of budding programs and the maintenance of established programs, and finally, the effective communication of challenges being related by the public in a way that provides focus and prioritization on correction and customer service and progress in lieu of promotion of tribalism and selective advocacy. And that's about the best way I can say that. I think the model for this monthly meeting is similar to that of what we see in the site parent group monthly meetings with the superintendent, in that the meeting is agendized, it is focused, and it is memorialized. I have spoken with Coach Jorgensen. He has agreed to support the board. If we have consensus, I look forward to Coach Jorgensen's first district sports liaison report to the board at the first available opportunity. I want to remind everyone that the district's athletes have been idle. I don't know what they're doing to keep their skill set up, but I'm a believer that actually participating competitively is the best way to do that. I guarantee you the programs will return. It's not if, but it's when, and I don't want to sit back idle. I think we need to be focused and ready, and in my mind, there's not a better person who represents the board's focus on district athletics than Coach Jorgensen. And despite anybody screaming and kicking right now on the board, I'm going to ask the superintendent to reach out to Coach Jorgensen as quickly as possible. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
President Fallsgraf, yes, you don't have my consensus on that, not because I don't believe that Coach Jorgensen isn't the most qualified person, but just in terms of governance, typically the board governs and we don't get actively involved in these things. Why would sports be any different than anything else? So I don't, for me, you don't have my consensus. I don't think we need to go there as an official liaison position. It has nothing at all to do with Coach Jorgensen's obvious qualifications. It's just I don't believe it's good policy.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, this is Kelly. I'm going to agree with Mike. I'm a big fan of Tim Jorgensen. He's been a great coach. We have a field named after him. But I think that this is not the role of the board. I think that we have athletic directors, and this is the role of the superintendent choosing who's going to oversee athletics at this point. I don't think that's the role of the board.
The rest of you, please weigh in. I'm not insulted here at all. Please weigh in.
This is Brandon. I have a tendency to agree with both Kelly and Mike on this. I feel like it may be a little bit of an overreach having someone on the board attending these as a liaison. Like, don't get me wrong, Coach Jorgensen was my football coach. I have the utmost respect for him, and I think he would do a great job in that position. But just with the fact of having a board member attend it is a little bit of a toss-up for me.
Okay, with all due respect, the board has spoken. I respect the board, and that issue has become dead. Thank you. We'll move along to the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any board member wishes to pull, including anything off the minutes of May 28th, the warrant register, or the board meeting calendar? Could we pull up the annual contracts tab so we can see what those look like? I do like to have this shown where people can see it. Yes, please. So there is a list of the annual contracts. The only thing I would like to see are those read into the record. There's a universal gift form and a resolution of declaring unusable, obsolete, or no longer needed equipment. A personnel action report. I'll have one item there. It's a comment, nothing that will affect anything. The Williams fourth quarter report. Board members, is there anything that you would like to pull to discuss or have a comment on? Hearing nothing, I would like to say, Janetic, you have been a very professional and dedicated employee to the SPED students of this district. All I can say is thank you for your years of service to this district, and good luck to you wherever you go. Thank you very much. Can we read the annual contracts list, please?
You want to go through these?
Please.
Okay, sure.
So it's the firm and basically what it's for and the dollar amount.
Sure. So the first one is Aries Software, which is part of our attendance reporting, $15,600. Atkinson, Anderson, Loya, Root, and Romo is our district legal fees, estimated not to exceed amount of $175,000. Blackboard is our communication tool, $11,042. Board Docs is what we're using right now. That's $10,000 for the cloud-based board management system. Our California Association of CASLO is what we belong to for business. That's $1,000 for that membership. California Fiscal School Services, Charter School Fiscal Services Support Analysis Services, $42,300. Our CSBA, California School Board Association membership fees are $8,929. California School Board Association manual maintenance fees for membership materials is $2,640. California School Board Association online services for board change policies, laws, and statutes, $2,190. California School Management E-rate services, $4,000. Careers through Culinary Arts Program, the Culinary Arts Classroom Support, $3,640. Christie White and Associates, which is our district auditing firm, $30,000. Ed Files, our online file organization and cloud data storage, $4,048. E. Bailey, District accounting and charter school accounting is $140,000. Epicenter, charter school support program analysis, $70,000. With Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost, district legal services, estimated not to exceed $5,000. Gerard, Edwards, Stevens, and Tucker provides our legal services for our charter school oversight, estimated not to exceed $50,000. Go Guardian, so technology support for safe web content, $7,800. Globaloria, computer science educational courses, $4,200. Harlan Technology Service, Scantron Services, $1,516. Illuminate, which is our student data reporting services, $8,011.25. Jack Schrader and Associates, School Facility Services Developer Fee Study Services, $4,000. LACO, the jet mail services that we use, $3,400. Los Angeles County Office of Education. LLL is labels, letters, and I forget the other L, but it's our reporting software and maintenance, $10,428. Naviance, which is our career readiness assessment software, is $2,400. Raptor Technologies, which is our security scanner system and maintenance, $2,260. Betty Sarkisian provides services for training in our transportation department, not to exceed $30,000. School Innovations and Achievement, which is our school accountability report card services, which you can find online, $3,900. School Services of California, which provides information on the state budget and public education information membership, $4,000. Total compensation services for GASB reporting is $1,200. And just a quick comment, these are normally cyclical events that occur every year. Just to remind the board, there's a discretionary contract allotment to the superintendent not to exceed $15,000. If I ever go above that, as you know, I come to the board for authorization.
Thank you. It appears to me that there is not a heavy dependence on consultants here, and I think that's been reduced. That said, thank you for your patience, board members. Barring any other comments or questions, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar, items 8A through 8I as submitted?
I will second. I think I heard Tim make the motion.
Yes. Call the question.
Mike, aye.
Brandon,
Kelly, aye.
4-0 board president, I 5-0 consent calendar carries. Moving along. People in Education Services, approval of the Antelope Valley SELPA local plan. This is an action item. This was provided in the packet, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Do I have a motion to move this in for discussion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
This is Mike. I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Do you want to explain a little bit about what this is?
Board members, have you read this and had a look at it? And this is a customary annual thing. Do you need any discussion, board?
this is Brandon, I'm good on it.
Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval? Or let's call this a question. Approval of the AV SELPA. Let me read this again. Local plan area amended. Call the question.
Mike, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Kelly, I.
Board 4, 0 aye. Board President 5 aye. Carries 5-0. Business Services, Resolution 19/2018, school transfers with ADA below EC 41301 level, year-end appropriation transfers.
I'll move it in if it requires such.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I'll second. This is Kelly.
Any discussion, Larry? This is another formal.
Yeah, not unless the board has any questions. We have Ms. David on standby if there are any.
I think this is an annual thing that allows the district to conduct routine business. Hearing nothing, call to question.
Mike, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Aye.
Kelly, I.
Board President, aye, 5-0. We'll go to B, Resolution 19/20.19, Declaration of Indefinite Salaries for Retroactive Pay. Did I read that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay,
I'll move it in. This is Mike.
you,
Second.
call to question.
This is Mike, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Aye.
Kelly, I.
Board President, aye, 5-0. C, Resolution 19-20-20.20, authorization for temporary interfund cash borrowing, 2021. Move, please.
This is Mike. I'll move it in.
Thank you.
Brandon, I'll second.
Any discussion? Again, a typical financial business annual thing. Call to question.
Mike, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Kelly, I.
Board President, aye, 5-0. D, Resolution 19-20.21, authorization for intra-fund cash transfers 2020-21. Motion, please.
This is Mike. I'll move it in.
This is Kelly. I'll second.
Any discussion? Again, another typical annual business practice. Call to question.
Mike, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Aye.
Kelly, I.
Board President, aye, 5-0. E, Resolution 19-20.22, authorization for temporary transfers from the school pools fund maintained by the Los Angeles County Treasurer, 20-21. Do I have a move?
Why break with tradition? This is Mike. I'll move it in.
There we go, thank you, Mike.
This is
Brandon, I'll
Kelly.
second.
Oh, Brandon can second.
Sorry, Kelly.
Any discussion? To add or you don't wish to hear about on the future agenda items?
Ken, really quick.
For career connections is still missing.
Since this is not reflective of just the next board meeting, I'm supporting Tim in putting career connections back on can we do that, please? Okay. Nothing. Jackie wants to jump in on something here regarding.
She just asked if, she wants to add an agenda item for SRTs.
We've historically done that under what was the superintendent's safety report, which has now been included in the gold standard report. Guys, this is where liaisons come in really handy, where a board member might have a talk with Jackie, but that being said, does anyone have a problem with Larry reaching out to Jackie about is that SRTS? Okay.
This is Mike. I have absolutely no problem with Larry speaking with a constituent regarding SRTS.
Okay, and while we're there, I don't want to introduce things that shouldn't be introduced, but I've got the railway people trying to arrange a meeting about a new pathway that I would also like Larry to have a chat with somebody, at least as to what their understanding of what that means. Again, I'm not interested in checking a box that, oh, we met with you guys and the board president and that kind of thing. So maybe we can get two birds killed with one stone on this. And Jackie's usually somebody that's pretty knowledgeable about that when it comes to what the Acton Town Council, because if I recall, the railway consultant had referenced something about they've been through the Acton Town Council. I need to at least know that that's accurate. So to recap this, we all have all of our items, and Larry should at least be able to touch on the next gold standard report on the 25th, either that he has something to report or something that he's working on. Okay, is that good, Larry?
Perfect, yeah.
Perfect. All righty then, is somebody paging in? I don't want to close this out without.
I think we're good. We was just apologizing that she didn't bring it up earlier.
No. We have glitches, Jackie. That's great. Whenever you jump in, it's important. Okay. So that said, if we're all good there, let's move on. 13, closed session. There's nothing to report out of closed session. No action was taken. And then I will ask for 14, everybody's favorite, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn at 8:27?
This is Mike. I'll make that motion.
This is Brandon, I'll second.
Call the question.
Mike, aye.
Brandon, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Board President, aye, 5-0. We are closed out at 8:27. Thank you, board members.
The Acton Town Council is holding a protest meeting today, which is the only way the county will allow them to gather together. Following rules, everyone is sitting or standing 6 feet apart and less than 100 people present. So they're gathered here at Acton Park under the covered pavilion where the tables are. And they have a limited agenda since they are here outside, and once it gets dark they have to go. So hopefully they can get everything done in the next hour or two.
We're going to have this little protest meeting to just kind of talk about some of the things that are going on with the county. We don't have our name backers. I'm Jeremiah Owen, I'm the president. Tom Costin, vice president.
Pam Walter, treasurer. Jackie Ayers, corresponding secretary.
And
Secretary tonight.
yes. So we're going to go through some of the big things that have been kind of floating around that we can talk about and discuss. We needed input from the community on what we want to get back to the county. And since we haven't been able to have a meeting, they're just continuing to ramrod things through with no break. So it's not really fair to have things that impact the community with no input from the community. So that's why we thought we'd get an opportunity here to gather some input so we can pass that on and give them some stuff to chew on. So, Jackie, you want to start out with a little bit of filling in about Metro proposing double the train trips through Acton.
Now, I don't need my megaphone, right? I just, okay, good. About 2 months ago, we were contacted by Metro, and we were told that they are going forward with the plan to double the train routes along the Metro link through the community, and also shift the freight systems around. So that would be, I think it's up to 40 trips a day is what they have approved funding for. And they told us that that's just for Metro. They told us that they would be starting the environmental outreach part of the program next month, which is very soon. And so we have told them that the residents of Acton many of them don't have good internet. Zoom meetings for me, I have good internet, and I have a heck of a time with Zoom meetings when I deal with the school board meetings and other things. So we have a unique situation here, and if they're not going to convene a meeting, then they need to not move forward on the environmental review until they can find a way to work with our community. And there was a conference call about 2 weeks ago, and we were told that they would figure a way around. They had no idea how to deal with the problem here, but they would figure out a way. And I have not a lot of faith that that's going to happen. But I'm also realistic in that I'm concerned that they're going to roll forward anyway with this environmental review next month, and we will not really be able to participate. So one of the things that I wanted to protest is our inability to comment on this project and to kick around some ideas that if we as a community want to get behind, that we really need to step into them starting in about 2 weeks. So I don't think, realistically speaking, we'd be able to stop their doubling of the routes. The momentum's too great. There are all kinds of things going on that would prevent us from stopping that. But I do believe that if we band together and we insist on quiet zones at every single crossing, that would require them to put in certain infrastructure. It would require them to participate in a process with the Federal Railway Administration. But if they did that, then there would no longer be any more train whistles going through at 3 a.m. That each the groundwork.
And now twice as often.
Yes, twice as often. So that would be Bootlegger, Crown Valley, Aliso, and I'm missing one. But in all of them, so we would need to insist on that. At the last meeting, I brought it right, and I said, we're going there. This is what's going to happen. And they balked. Oh, well, we don't know if we can put it in as mitigation measures. I said, but you don't understand. We're bringing it to the community, and we're going to find out what they think about it. If that's what they want, then we as a community are going to push forward on that. So there are things that are available to us for us to fight for to help protect us from the noise impacts of this project, but I'm going to throw it out there. What do you guys think?
Wasn't it a couple of years ago that a petition went around to sign if you were already annoyed at and now I live over in Shannon Valley, and with the wind going right, sometimes I hear the whistle, but that's neat. But over here, we've got Pass, we've got Soledad, Crown Valley, Bootlegger, and want it then, and we don't want it now.
I agree. And Rob Peter, who's on the town council, spearheaded that effort. He did a great job. Got a lot of information on it. And that's sort of how we learned about the whole quiet zone option. Anyway, okay.
No, but I can talk to Rob. I'll reach out to Rob. I think it's a great
Maybe they should start the petition again with an update.
Sure. And it gives us a running start.
Yeah,
Because
it sets a precedent.
well, no, that it was 2 creek quiet zones in the existing places that this is still going to happen. So it wasn't anything. All this is talking about double trips, it's still going to be the same problem, just twice as often.
right,
So-
exactly. So it's supplementary or augmenting. So if you wouldn't mind dropping a line to the town council email and saying, hey, we want this, that would be helpful also.
Yeah.
And the email address is
atc@actontown.org.
So I will drop a line in my email.
There's added benefits to the quiet
zones too, because of the more secure infrastructure that they need, makes it safer for vehicles and pedestrians and everything else.
I don't remember, but I think in the particular comment box, somebody said that they didn't want it at night because people were sleeping, and I think I did comment, I did keep a comment on that foot, that it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, because some people work nights and some people work days. So we don't want any noise.
Well, also, I think the ding, ding, dinging is quieter than the horn.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Well,
I
do the crossings still ding? I don't think so.
This is what we have to find out. It's one of the things that we'll be
I mean,
finding out.
I've stopped enough times on Sierra Highway where it curves around and you turn left on Avenue O and there's that crossing there. And I've never heard the light ding.
So the quiet zone, are they just guardrails and signage and stuff?
Double protected, so both sides,
Okay.
arms come down.
And
Right
then-
now, there's just one in each direction.
Because I know the ones like in the city, at least during the day, when the rails are down and they have the LED lighting, like saying, "Hey, train's coming, get out of the way," knucklehead, they still blow their horn.
So the difference is those are not double protected. If you go down to Anaheim, Orange County, they don't blow horn down there. What's Sanford, it's one side and one side. This is the total.
So there's four arms.
Yeah, there's
instead
big,
of-
yeah, exactly. So it completely blocked, you could not go through. And that's why they say that they don't blow the horn because. Now that said, I believe the conductor still has the opportunity. Well, I believe the conductor still has the opportunity to blow the horn if they see something obvious in the tracks. But for safety issues or kids that are not allowed.
But I'll be honest with you, I think it's still gonna be an uphill battle, because even when I threw that out, they were like, oh, well, we gotta deal with the FRA, and, well, they'll do that after the project. I said, no, you don't understand. You may not approve the doubling up, or even one more trip a day, until the facilities are in place and the FRA's bought off on it. So
Could
you
you
gotta
bring
work
up the
with
safety
FRA.
issue of like just the fact that if there is an accident that happens, the response time to get medical attention to any of the crossings is not like it's in somewhere else. So just out of abundance of safety for the public, having those crossings there to prevent something from happening in the first place, could be a liability for them.
Could I ask a huge favor of you?
Sure.
Having a comment like that coming from an actual police officer?
I'll write it up for you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you for your service.
If you're all this, I'm not going anywhere because I looked at sergeant exam and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not leaving. I'm sitting right here.
Well, it's not just scheduling, it's the freight trains too.
Well, yeah, they did tell us about, they're shifting the freight rate schedule, but we have no idea if
What
it's
that
more.
means.
It's gonna be
No,
more.
but she's asking if there's that much demand,
No.
they need to double it. Yeah. Like if the train's so packed.
No, yeah, I mean,
There is no population to sustain
yeah, but
40
they're
trips a day.
doing. Sure.
In addition to the quiet zones, could you also request that they try and run the tier 4 engines? Because they have the new engines that are tier 4. You'll hear one
The
comes
clean,
through every
super
once in a
clean
while.
ones?
They
Yeah.
are super quiet.
Okay.
Could you,
We live right off of Soledad Canyon, and
Yeah.
we can hear the old ones.
You can tell when they're, which one's
Oh,
coming.
yeah, you can tell it's a big difference between the new ones and
Would
the
you
old
mind
ones.
to write that in, to an
Could you
email to
send
us?
an email
Sure.
on the?
That'd be
I
great.
just need to know where it's at.
Yeah, it's
ATC, it's okay, we'll keep saying it, but
Okay.
ATC at Acton Town Council.
Okay.
or just Google Acton Town Council, come up, and then there's a comment, send us a comment or something.
Okay, I'll send it.
Both the papers too.
I do know that one of the drivers for this whole effort is Green New Deal, which we'll talk a little bit about later,
Right.
and all that. So that's a natural sort of dovetail with the whole issue. Hey, if you're gonna double the engines, make sure that you're environmentally responsible.
And I'm very familiar with emissions and stuff like that too, so I can.
That would be great.
We love experts like
Yeah.
that. Let us know.
This is a great thing. If this is really to be a Green New Deal thing, then they absolutely should be the
Include everything, not
quiet,
just-
yeah,
not
then
just the
let's
noise.
go the whole,
No,
let's ask for the whole enchilada.
Exactly.
This comes from a long time ago, and
Exactly.
Gathering this stuff is ammo to at least delay it till we can have proper meetings and whatnot.
Well,
I mean,
the big long
we're
list.
yeah, we're trying to create some
Yep.
firewall is basically what this is.
Exactly.
Right now, it's just everything's getting rammed through. We're not getting an opportunity to speak. So the more stuff we can throw into the mix and try to gum up the works a little bit to give us a proper and ample opportunity to speak, about the stuff that's gonna affect our community, we wanna do that. Okay.
Just like Jean's question about why they're doubling or adding 40 more trips for Metrolink.
It's because everybody has to get out of their car and everybody has to get on the train. Or on their bikes, but you guys are already on your bikes.
You're doing your work.
It just is what it is. I'm not commenting good or bad, it just is. We have to deal with it.
There are times when you wish you could trains to get to Acton. It's, so I can understand them trying to make it more convenient for the riders. No, I'm not saying double, but there definitely is room with the ridership we had 5 or 6 years ago to run more trains, at least at the peak times.
Well, there's also another part of it.
There is justification for it, I believe, to some extent.
There's another part of it that maybe we'll segue to the next topic. The high-speed rail ridership report came out a few months ago, and the town council commented on it. If you looked at it carefully, you saw that high-speed rail was not going to carry any commuters. 0 commuters. Now, they sold it to come down to 14 and not the 5 because they said they needed a way to get from Palmdale, Antelope Valley, down to LA. So they sold it for our buy-in, on our end, not my buy-in, but South LA end buy-in was as a commuter option. But if you look at the ridership numbers, it will not be carrying any commuters.
And it's just another long list of things that.
Yes, so that's why this is to, I think this is sort of a stopgap, because we stepped into that pretty hard a few months back, so.
Well, if there's any more ideas on Metro, I want to keep moving through the topics so we make sure we hit everything. Just please feel free to email into the Acton Town Council and we can process those. But, thanks for your input. Anything you guys think of later, please send it in, we'll put it. Staying on top of the rail, but moving towards high-speed rail, we want to talk about what's been proposed.
Well, we got a call about a month ago, I'd say, and High Speed Rail has said, well, we're looking at underground routes for you, for Acton. I wish it was for me. I don't think they like me for Acton. And of course, I was very happy to hear that. They did not give us any routes, so we have no maps to show you, but they said it would be 100% underground through Acton. So when we asked for sort of the route that they would be following, it would be approximately along the same path that the route was going to be 6 years ago when they were going to go right south of the middle school with a big 60-foot-high berm infrastructure over Crown Valley and right next to the high school. So, but it will be underground, which sounded great. Okay, it sounded really awesome. Except they said they want to use Acton as a base for doing what they call bidirectional drilling. So they're going to find a place in Acton, dig a big old pit that's 100 feet deep, and then run their boring guys this way and that way. And then when it's all done, they'll cover it all up. So it will still be, I call it a hatch and patch. They call it a cut and cover. But when, at least when the train operates, it would be 100% underground, which is something for 14 years we've never been able to get.
And as we pointed out to the numerous times, the amount of sound generated by the train is ridiculous, and the amount of trips that we're talking about per day, it just be nonstop.
Yeah, it's 96 round trips per day.
And what was the estimated volume?
Almost 200 trips.
The audio volume.
So using High-Speed Rail's own, using their own programs and their sound assessments, it would be, if you were 1,000 feet from the right-of-way, it would be, I think, 85 decibels every time it went by, which is, if you're 50 feet from a jackhammer, I think that's 82 decibels.
So pretty close, yeah.
And the way they have been getting away with declaring that this amount of noise is not a significant impact under CEQA, which is the California Environmental Quality Act, which maybe somebody heard of, where you do environmental impact reports, is that they've taken the noise insult, and that comes every 3 minutes during peak time, and then they average it over 24 hours. So the bulk noise impact is only like 7, 10, maybe 8 decibels, which they're saying, oh, that's not over a threshold of concern. Although we have ways to argue that out. We've convinced them that if they try to do that here, they will lose, and they will lose, because I do SQL for a living, I know that we know that.
And so that, I think that, I just wanted to enumerate that so that we could look at why it's so important to try to get it underground. Because it's gonna, I cannot imagine our kids going to high school and having that thing screaming by every 3 minutes.
But it wouldn't be high school, it would be a town.
Or, yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be terrible. So, while, you know, we've stated we don't want it here, if we have to have it here, that seems like the best option. It's like, hey, how do you want to die, right? So, gotta pick your method. So we had the call with them, that's proposed drilling. Out here we talked about, you know, lobby to shift the location.
Yeah, the problem is where they want to put it, it's going to be right there at Antelope Woods. So the trucks will be running 24 hours a day using that intersection where we have the middle school and all the freeway traffic for the freeway serving businesses. So I wanted to find out if people thought about asking if it could be shifted, if that's an option we want to look at, because I'm troubled by what they're proposing at that location.
So, Jackie, I've looked at Google Earth, and I understand why they choose that location. Because if you go online and you go to the high-speed rail website and you look at some of these construction sites, these things are huge. We're talking about material conveyors, trucks coming in and out, staging, offices for construction people, parking for construction people. I mean, these sites are acres and acres and acres. And if you look at Google Earth, that site is perfect. There's no development there except you've got the freeway on one side, you've got Antelope Woods and Cedral on the other side.
And a bunch of homes.
And a bunch of homes, which is going to impact significantly, I'm sure. And we've got Crown Valley, which is our middle school. And if they put it there and use Crown Valley will be 24/7 trucks. Coming off the freeway and on the freeway. Now, I've seen construction sites like this where they've actually put their own on and off ramps on the freeway for these types of construction sites. So there may be things that can be done that make that site more workable.
Or maybe go down to Escondido.
But it would be much better if they can be convinced to move that on one side of town where there's no people, on the other side of town where there's no people. And maybe you don't get a 50-50, drilling one direction and drilling the other, but it's going to be so close considering the amount of miles they need to drill, that the actual distance, making it equal is not that big of a deal. So
we did push them for that.
Yep.
To look for another site.
Oh, well, she's like, isn't that something we look at in the environmental stage when we do the EIR? I'm like, no, before the EIR. You need to put
Because
it in
that's what's going to impact the environment.
We did do that.
I did. I literally did.
Looking at Google Earth, it's going to have to go way west, or it's going to have to go way north.
Yeah. Well, it's too close to our junior high.
Yeah.
It's astronomical.
And that's where all the freeway, right?
That's our main thoroughfare. I mean, that's the main strip through town.
Yeah.
It's, and that T too. I mean, as you come down Sierra over there, that's the main artery.
I would expect they're going to lobby very hard for that location.
That's why we're here. We can lobby hard too. I mean,
that's why it's going to need a lot. We need to hear from a lot of people about the destruction of what this is going to be. This is, like I said, go on to their website and look at the pictures. They are massive.
So I think the pressure on this, thing, putting the pressure cooker is that this is supposed to start in July.
No, late fall. But it's still, we have to get it in early enough so that it's gelled by the time the draft EIR comes out in the fall. So I'd like to know what people think of this. I mean, I'll tell you honestly, I'm grateful that at least we have an underground route. Because in 2010, I stopped fighting the project because it just wasn't, the voters voted for it. It's coming, whether we like it or not.
Well, we didn't stop fighting, we stopped fighting.
We changed our tactic.
We changed our tactic.
Trying to
Nobody
make it not
stopped
kill it.
fighting.
So, and the tactic is, if you say, no, we don't want it, you exclude yourself from the conversation.
Yes.
So now we're saying, well, we'd rather not have it, but if it's got to be here, it's got to go underground. And that's the tactic the town